Hello, everybody. Scott Golden with the SmackDown review for the 16th of October, 2020. And my gosh, this show again makes me wonder why I watch, especially after watching the whole world class run. I mean, I understand wrestling was simpler then. I also understand that things were much different and slower. But my gosh, they can't even put on like 2 or 3 consecutive weeks of good programming these days on one show. Every time I think NXT is getting better, then they'll have a bad show 2 or 3 weeks later. Then when I think Raw has a good show, the next week it's horrible. I really, if I wasn't a fan for 30 plus years, I would give up on WWE altogether, but I don't want to punish the talent they have by not being a fan of the talent they have. Anyway, so they opened the show. They actually did a pre-show for this. I did not bother to watch. Uh, anyway, Michael Cole and Corey Graves opened the show. Entire rosters on stage. Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman, New Day, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, and many more. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon are in the ring. They call this the season premiere of SmackDown. Since when do season premieres happen in mid-October? Triple H said they have something for everyone tonight, including the main event. Stephanie notes that Daniel Bryan's back, his first time in the Thunderdomes. Fans on screens do the yes chant. Yeehaw! We've trained Pavlov's dogs to do something. Anyhow, they talk about the Street Profits, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. And they jumped the Street Profits and the roster broke into a giant brawl. This is stupid. Hey, we're all standing here, and then we're going to wait for a cue, and then we're all going to beat each other up. Okay. Like, where does this happen in real life that, like, we all wait for a cue and then we fight? Anyway, Owens hits a cannonball off the apron. Montez Ford hits a dive on the other side. Onto Ziggler and Rude. Lars Sullivan's music hits. He comes to the ring. Sullivan destroys the Street Profits at ringside. Kalisto attempted a suicide dive. Sullivan catches him and slams him into the barricade. Sullivan jumps into the ring and Sami Zayn runs off. Apollo Crews and Shorty G try to attack Sullivan, but he uses power to get rid of both guys. Jeff Hardy jumps on Sullivan from behind and sends him to the floor. I guess that it's good they're making Sullivan into a monster. I guarantee that by Christmas, they'll have given up on him. But at least they're trying something for a few weeks. Lars Sullivan defeats Jeff Hardy. It was a fine match. Hardy bumping around for a newer guy is a good thing. Hardy is briefly in control. He injures his knee. Sullivan takes over and uses power the whole time. Hits a sliding clothesline for a near fall. Hardy fires back, but can't get Sullivan off his feet. Sullivan regains control. Hardy hits Whisper in the win for a 1 count. Way to kill his finish. Sullivan shoves Hardy to the floor. And then Sullivan slams him into the apron. Hardy hits a twist of fate and climbs to the top rope. Swanton bomb. Sullivan basically no-sells that, jumps to his feet. Hardy's in shock. Sullivan gets back up. Sullivan hits the freak accident for the win. Not bad. They do show a decent video package on Bianca Belair. Hope they don't end up botching that. New Day does their farewell thing in the ring. Woods pointed out that Big E started on SmackDown. Kofi becomes emotional, talking about their time as a team. Talked about highlights together, which was cool. Everybody talks emotionally about the New Day thing. Kingston talks about considering giving it all up in 2012. Woods and Big E approached him, and they came up with the New Day idea. Kingston cries. He talks about this as them being their best friends. Woods changed up the mood with a New Day Rocks chants. This was probably the best segment on WWE in 6 months. It was real. It was genuine. It felt like it was special. Hopefully, they don't put New Day back together for 2 or 3 years. Obviously, you're going to send them home back as a unit sometime down the road, but hopefully, the split lasts a while. So, Sheamus, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura getting ready for their match. They basically say they're going to get revenge on the New Day. New Day win their final match with Sheamus, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Nice little match. They keep it moving pretty well. Faces are in control, and Kofi hits a senton on Cesaro. Woods drops Cesaro, or drops Biggie onto Cesaro for a near fall. Heels take over. They isolate Woods. Woods fights back, hits a sliding knee. Big E power bombs Woods onto Sheamus, and Kingston hits a splash. Heels regain control. Cesaro drags Kingston back to the corner. Kingston ends up in the corner, but Sheamus ends up losing it. Go to the break. We come back. Kingston hits the SOS on Sheamus, and Big E gets the hot tag. He runs nuts and hits a big splash. He attempted the big ending. Cesaro counters with a gut-wrench suplex. Nakamura hits a sliding German suplex on Woods. Always like the sliding German. I enjoy the move. Sometimes it's overused, but not as overused as other things. So when I see it, I do pop for it. Kingston gets the tag and a dive onto Cesaro and Nakamura. Sheamus takes out Big E. Kingston rocks Sheamus with a kick to the face. Kingston jumped off the top. Nakamura caught him with a knee. Cesaro does the giant swing on Kingston. Nakamura hits the Kinshasa. Sheamus hits the white noise on Kingston for a near fall. I will say, this is good for New Day in terms of a memorable moment, but it's killing a lot of finishes for the heels here. Sheamus goes into the post. Kingston makes a comeback. Then the New Day hits the midnight hour for the win. Post-match, there's a celebration. They're emotional. They thank each other. Kayla Braxton tries to interview Otis, but Sami Zayn interrupted. Points out that Tucker and Mandy Rose have both left Otis and went to Raw. He makes fun of Otis. Otis pushes him to the ground. I really would love to see them scrap this Otis character. It does nothing for anybody except like 8 to 11-year-old kids. And even then, if you don't have a live audience to sell merch to, it's not doing much for them either. Daniel Bryan cuts a promo. They show Brie Bella on the screen. Daniel Bryan says he's excited to be in Thunderdome. He admits he loves his time at home. He waves to his family. Not a fan of this. Bryan talks about Street Profits' debut in the main event. He praised the new roster members. Seth Rollins' music hits. He notes that Bryan talks about all the talented people who didn't mention him, and he asked Bryan what side of history he wants to be on. Bryan made fun of Rollins and calls him self-centered, says he's dumb, and Bryan repeated that Rollins' vision is dumb, and then Rollins attacked Bryan, hits him with a microphone. Bryan makes a comeback and attempts yes kicks. Rollins rolls out of the ring and he's ready to leave. Rey and Dominic Mysterio stopped him. Rollins is back in the ring and Bryan left him alone with the Mysterio family. Rey and Dominic corner him. Murphy's music hits. Stands next to Rollins. Rollins attacks Murphy, or Murphy attacks Rollins and Rollins runs off. Murphy tries to get respect from Rey and Dominic. They look at him and walk away. Michael Cole basically wonders why the Mysterios are being difficult. I mean, I know this is going to lead to a romance somewhere down the road with Aaliyah, but man, they're a little clunky in getting there. SmackDown Tag Champs, Street Profits versus Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. I don't know. I mean, this ends in a lame DQ finish. Honestly, I'd rather see Ziggler and Roode have the tag belts because I think there's more charisma in them. Dawkins and Ziggler start off. Dawkins misses a splash. Roode takes over, knocks Ford off the apron. Ziggler scores a near fall. Ford breaks it up, and referee calls for the disqualification out of nowhere. And then we see a spine buster on Dawkins, and then there's a crossbody by one of the baby faces onto the two heels. So, Sasha Banks Bayley contract signing. Adam Pearce hosts the contract signing. Why is he such a big deal on TV? Have they ever officially told us who he is and why he's like the GM with the title? Anyway, he hosts the contract signing. Sasha and Bayley make their entrances. I don't know. Like, if I was going to buy a house or buy a car, I wouldn't need entrance music to sign the contract, but that's just me. Pierce talks about their bitter feud. He gives the contract to Banks. Signed first. Banks signs it. Noted she's been waiting a long time for this. She's been basically mocks Bayley for being champion for over a year. Bayley brags about being champion for over a year. Banks, she says she knew that Banks was going to turn on her, so Bayley did it first. Banks noted she wouldn't do that to her friend. She pointed out she called Bayley when she left NXT, pointed out how she hoped to win her first Raw championship. She says that her name is bigger than Bayley's championship. Banks promised to leave Hell in a Cell with the title. Banks got in Bayley's face. Bayley leaves the ring without signing the contract. Calls her a coward. I don't know. I mean, you can't have Banks win the championship, otherwise it's a complete letdown. You should be drawing this out for, I don't know, at least Royal Rumble, if not Mania. But how are you going to get 6 months out of a feud that's already beginning to sputter? I loved the turn. I loved the promo after the turn. It feels like they've turned it down, though. A bunch of celebrities congratulate SmackDown for 1 year on Fox. I don't think fans at home care. Steve Austin's going to be on some talk show tomorrow. Again, I don't think fans care. Universal Champion Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman defeats Braun Strowman to retain the title. Oh, yeah, by the way, I don't think fans care about that either. So Reigns and Strowman have a good match. They work as hard as they can. I'm not a Strowman fan, so that makes things a little difficult. They do a post-match angle with Jey Uso. Michael Cole and Corey Gray notes that if Strowman wins, he takes the championship with him to Raw. And they're worried SmackDown won't have a title if Strowman wins. They do bring introductions for the match. Mark Henry and Rob Stone on screens in the crowd. Goldberg's on a screen, but they didn't call attention to that for some reason. Keith Lee appears next to him, but they never mention that at all either. Jey Uso's watching the match backstage. Why are people watching on monitors and we're showing this on TV? Ooh, this match is big because people are watching. You don't need to drive that home if your product is hot. Anyway, so Reigns jumpstarts the match and hits a Superman punch. Strowman goes to the floor. Reigns back, and Strowman goes into the corner. Reigns dominates Strowman for a minute, but then minor comeback by Strowman. Strowman then hits a big boot for Reigns hits a big boot for near fall. Reigns sends Strowman to the floor and slams him on the announce table. Strowman fights back, tosses Reigns over the announce table. Strowman hits a running shoulder tackle, sends Reigns over the barricade. We go to the break, we come back. Goldberg watching the match is shown again. This time they actually acknowledged it. Reigns is in control. Strowman makes a comeback. Strowman fires up, hits a chokeslam for a near fall. Reigns kicks out and gives Strowman a low blow. Reigns hits a spear for a near fall. I mean, they're doing the right things with Reigns, but he's also his big stuff isn't working against a guy who's lukewarm at best, like Strowman. But then there's the other problem: who have they heated up to be ready for Reigns on SmackDown? I mean, the Jey Uso thing is kind of a fun little side story, but let's say it's Survivor Series or let's say it's Rumble. Who do you have ready that is credible against Reigns? I don't think you do. And I don't think they have the slightest idea how to get somebody ready. The finish comes when Reigns tries to hit a second spear. Strowman counters with a power slam. Reigns locks on a guillotine submission for the win. Reigns coming up with a submission win is a cool adaptation of his normal offense. Jey Uso walks out, stands on top of the ramp. Reigns looks at Uso and hits another spear on Strowman, almost as if to taunt him. Uso walks towards the ring. Reigns grabs a chair. Uso stands at ringside, then continues to beat down on Strowman, which makes Strowman look like a chopped liver, to say the very least. He told Uso he doesn't want to do that to him, but he will. Reigns then wants to give him a second chance. Referee tries to stop Reigns. It doesn't work. Uso gets in the ring. Reigns told Uso that he loves him. He's just trying to help him. Reigns drops the chair at Uso's feet and turns around. Uso picks up the chair. T's hitting Reigns. Drops it. Reigns smiled. Uso snapped and attacks Reigns with the chair. Officials try to stop this. Reigns looks down at Uso and told him he gave him a second chance. Now he has to turn his back on him. I mean, this angle is fine, and if this was a feud like, for example, Bret and Owen Hart from 1994-95, that would be fine. It would be good, except I don't know that it's that. And again, SmackDown is such a weak program, I don't have faith in them continuing from week to week. Anyway, that is your SmackDown review. Keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.